Hello and welcome back to another short video on the Solidworks Introductory Exercise 1. So I'm going to do the second part of this exercise. First thing I'll do is I'm going to create a new part file and I'm going to save that into the same folder as previously. So I'll save that as something like plate 2 holes baseline. Okay, so the process is going to be very similar to the previous time. I'll go through it a little bit more quickly this time. I'm going to create a new sketch on that top plane. I can either create it from the ribbon up above, or I can click on Create New Sketch there. So that creates a sketch on that top plane, which I want to look in straight directly at it. So I'm going to create the sketch quite similar to before. I'll do a corner rectangle from the origin and I'm going to dimension that 90 by 40. So using the right mouse button and up to get the Smart Dimension tool. As before, I'm going to use the circle tool up here, or I can hold the right mouse button and swipe to the right. I'm going to use that to draw 2 circles roughly somewhere. Okay. And I'll use the Smart Dimension tool again to make those 10 millimeters in size, diameter. So far that's similar to the first part of this exercise. The difference here is going to be in how this is dimensioned relative to the rectangle. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dimension everything relative to the left-hand side, using the left-hand side of the rectangle as a datum and the bottom of the rectangle. So if I use the Smart Dimension tool, left-click once on the left-hand side of the rectangle, left click again on the center of the circle, I'll get the perpendicular distance and I want that to be 20. And from the left hand side of the rectangle to the second circle is going to be a distance of 70. And from the bottom of the circle to the center of the circle here is 20 for both. So we should wind up with the same geometry as we had previously, but it will have a different design intent. You'll see it behaves a little bit differently when we go to modify some of these dimensions later. And that's something we'll discuss in more detail in class. Okay, so I'm going to save the changes to that sketch. You'll see everything is fully defined. And you always want to make sure that everything in your sketch is fully defined before you finish up on it. Okay, so we have sketch 1 here. And I'm going to create an extrusion from sketch 1. We can extrude it out from the sketch plane, blind, in the positive Y direction by a distance of 5 millimeters. And OK that. Alright, so far that looks identical to the previous exercise, but it will behave a little bit differently if we go about modifying some of those dimensions. Alright, I'll stop the video at that and I'm going to do another video now on the third method of creating that same part.